कहीं जाके उससे टूटने वाला नहीं नहीं वो मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि बंदा उस तरह करेगा अच्छी बात है नहीं करेगा तो रह लिखेगा मैं पढ़ूंगा नहीं लिखेगा तो नहीं so I'm not going to push you but at the same time that is all of you cannot accept तुमसे पूछता है ठीक है तुम्हारा सही है कि अब आप आउट ऑफ टर्न भी लोगों को नहीं देते क्योंकि आपको लगता है कि हमें देना चाहिए वो भी देते हैं ना देना आप क्योंकि वो उसको दे देंगे लेकिन वो कुछ नहीं करेगा तुम्हें मत दो किसी को नहीं कर सकते
all PhD students, even post part-time को भी input किया. All are supposed to attend these talks. बहुत जल्दी नहीं किया, लेकिन हम part-time वाले, तो मैंने ऐसा बोला कि बस वो आएंगे हमारे 2-3 घंटे का देंगे, हमारा जो होगा वो attend करेंगे.
अच्छा ये part-time
और ये मतलब ये तो ऑफ में तो नहीं आया है, but वही होता है. हमने इंस्टीट्यूट का सेमिनार का मॉक अटेंड किया, but वही था कुछ चेंज नहीं किया. Then next week ऐसा लगता है कि हम एक दिन का आठ बजे का
that I would be no it cannot be one way traffic मैं तो इसको बोला था नहीं कि तुम लोग तो जाके सिविल का काम किया क्योंकि वो तो बैठ के तुम्हें 2 घंटे बिताएगा क्यों बताएगा फिर उससे तो बिजी है ना वो अपने 2 घंटे पढ़ लेगा मॉक तो ये है कि गिव एंड टेक रिलेशनशिप सिंपल सी बात आप मुझे ज्ञान करो तो होगा आप अपने लोग तो यू कैन नॉट एक्सपेक्ट लोग आज तुम्हारे कुछ करेंगे आपको वही स्टाइल में करना तो वही स्टाइल में ना किसी लो ना किसी तो वो भी पॉसिबल है देखो अब तुम्हें दे दिया तो इट्स नॉट यू आर नॉट एबल टू डू इट इफ यू डोंट डू इट you will never sacrifice it's not obligatory because मैंने बोला मैं तो फिर तुम्हें स्ट्रेस नहीं बोलूंगा कि तुम नॉट प्रोड्यूस उसको रियलाइज तो होना चाहिए सब चीजें कैसे नहीं होता है इसको क्या होता है सबको हमने जो पार्ट टाइम वाले हैं स्टूडेंट्स सब की आप यहाँ बैठे हो इस बात में एटलीस्ट आप एक अटेंड करो तो कल्चर कैसा होता है कि संविदा को हमने क्लियरली बोलना है कि अगर टेंशन नहीं लेना उससे ज्यादा नहीं लेना क्योंकि पता है कि वो होता है फिर भी उसका सेम रिपीट बट हमारा काम होगा you realize अगर एक बार मॉक में भी पता था कि 25 मिनट से 1 मिनट भी ज्यादा नहीं फर्स्ट केस तो फर्स्ट केस इसीलिए वो सर वो कहते सही नहीं दोनों आदमी सबसे आगे भी पिटाई नहीं इसको ऐसे वैल्यू सबका अपना क्यों आप इन्वेस्ट करोगे इट्स ट्रू दैट for you everything is learning and then there is a cost आप 10 सेमिनार करोगे तो आपको सीखने को मिलेगा पर 10 सेमिनार का मतलब 20 घंटे तो होता है ना ये सबको देखते हैं और मैं ये बोलता हूँ कि आप किसी हेल्प करिए तो साथ में आगे बढ़ाओगे आपकी हेल्प बट आप भी तो सकते हो करें सभी लोग हमारे लाइफ में ऐसे ही है जैसे मैम का भी फिर किसी का भी हो तो सब हेल्प करते हैं बट अगर आप कुछ और प्लान कर जाओगे किसी बंदे को मतलब वो ऑब्लिगेशन से नहीं लगते कि ठीक है भेजा तो हमारा काम सेकंड कि हम कल तक पढ़ेंगे सो वैसा वो डेवलप ये तो आप लोगों को ये स्पेंडिंग लाइफ ऑफ आप इसकी हेल्प करोगे आप वो नहीं करेंगे दूसरा करेगा सही है नहीं करेगा तो ये एक बार चलो मैं एक बार चलो फिर एक बार चलो तो सब फिर आप ही तो जाओगे वहाँ तो बहुत क्लियर है बोल देते हैं जो प्रोफेसर है वो प्रोफेसर नहीं है अगर आप उससे आगे की बात करें तो that was something what you should tell me that way to do second से लोग नहीं करते लेकिन उसका बात तो नहीं है रिड्यूस लेंगे जो या resolution of the nine. But at the same time, all you should realize and you should also realize. I have no mercy for any. क्या आप रिलेशन लाओ आपकी वो है हमारे ऊपर क्या पूरी कर रहे हो तो लाओ अपना रिश्ते करो हाँ फिर लाओ नहीं तो फिर लेवल लाओ
क्योंकि जैसे उसके साथ रिएक्शन आता है वो नहीं देखते वो लड़के वो डायरेक्ट बोल एक बार उसका तुम्हारे को बात की रिसेप्शन वाली तीन बार आज था पेपर पेपर पढ़ना
ठीक है केवल एक
इधर पता लगता है आज बोला तो आज हम सारे मिले तो मन में मेरे तो तब फिर से वो भी हेल्प पा दी फिर इसके बाद मैं
तो बोला ना आपने अभी अगर तुम मुझे क्यों करना
असल मैंने बोला है कि हम एक बार पूछते तुमने मना किया मेरा काम कर रहा है दूसरे बार नहीं टू डिस
sorry at least immediately not failure for sure legal issue तो उसको है at the same time है तो फिर सीखना पड़ेगा
तो लोग बहुत अच्छे से समझा रहे थे बस थोड़ा सा किसी से बात करके
ज्यादा फ्रेंड
किसी में फायदा क्या आपने उस पर धोखा फिर
shouldn't focus much on negativity negativity helping
हाँ सर वही होता है अभी हमारे
कि हमारा दिमाग खराब होता है थोड़ा एनर्जी अच्छी बढ़ जाके प्लस
मतलब सर अभी मतलब कोई भी ऐसा नहीं है काम
तो वर्क तुम्हारा क्रेडिट चलो हम नहीं बता रहे लोग करना है आते हैं हमारे लिए बहुत कम it's the first time क्या कह रही हो
सर पीछे बैग्स तो है
ऑटो लेके
ये सर कैब है उसमें पीछे वाले सीट पे बैग्स और साथ में साइड पे भाई सब वो
उनका है
घूमी
घूमे है
हाँ और
दोनों तो मैं मुझे लगा उस रूम में भर गया क्या वो उसका स्टोर
ये सब खाली खाली तो लग रहा है फिर भी हमने हर जगह पे स्कैटर रखा है हमारा बट खाली तो लग रहा है
बहुत बड़ा है
और सर यहाँ से कुछ कुछ लेके जा सकते हैं बहुत जैसे पुराना वाला जो कुछ कुछ वो बहुत हेवी मीटर वाला
वो उस तरह का है साइड में
मॉल वाले
Okay, guys, were you able to solve this question? The question which I just gave to you guys. So it's a very easy question. I think that this type of question was asked in the assignment, I think fourth or fifth or something. So it's a very easy math. It's like class 2, 3 math, I will say. So if let's say 5 liter car is consuming 5 liter to travel 50 kilometer, emission factor is 1.02 grams CO2 per liter. So calculate the CO2 emission. So you just have to multiply it CO 1.02 CO2 into 5 liters. So you will get to know that. Let me take uh, let me take a pen here. So just multiply 1.02 into 5. So how much this emission you are getting? 1.02 into 5, 5.1 grams. So this is the total CO2 emission that will be released when a car is traveling 50 kilometers. So now if you want to calculate this emission in per kilometer, like how much is the CO2 emission per kilometer, so just divide 5.1 divided by 50. Okay, so that will be around 1.002, I guess. Yeah, this one. Sorry, 1.002. No, 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 no. Wait. This will be 0.102 gram per kilometer. Okay. So these type of questions are quite easy. You can easily attempt these type of question and solve them. So it's not a very difficult thing that you guys should fear about the questions which will be asked in the exam. But I think even if it's, I think most probably these questions will not be asked in the exams. But even if it's asked in the exam, then uh, most probably you will be able to solve it. Okay. So anything else apart from that which you want to ask? So anything like you want to discuss? I could see a lot of questions being asked. I think some question which I skipped. Good evening, sir. Any type. I think this has been asked. Very the question. Okay. Any questions? Thank you. Then Anjali has asked assignments. So I don't worry. Question is not correct. Then Krishna has asked it. Okay. Anything else? Nothing. Okay, guys, then let's start revising or revisiting from week one. So I will not go through each and every slide. I will see some slide which is important, then I will discuss that slide only. So let me start this session in a formal way. So this is a summary session by NPTEL. So this is kind of a recap for all the whatever has been taught to you guys throughout this 12 weeks. So it's not like a kind of a teaching session or interaction session. It's like more like of interaction session where you guys can actually tell me that what is the problem that you are facing in preparing for the exam. If anything which you want to discuss, like if anything you want to ask, like I could get the questions from Abheri, Anjali, Krishna. So please feel free to ask. Okay. Okay. So no problem. Let me say from. Let me see questions, license and slides, and then week 01. Okay. So I will start with week 01. So yeah, week 01. Yeah, this is my this is like I had done a recap of environmental impact assessment. So I think you guys could easily grasp now what is screening, scoping, assessment of environmental risk, mitigation, decision making, everything. And then what is EIA phases? I think important EIA. CPCB is very important organization. It does play a very important role in controlling or regulating the emissions from different entities in India. So this is a very important question. Which sector is responsible for most carbon emission? So please look into this. Correct answer is C, electricity generation. Transportation mode, then modern, then this is transmigratory pollution, transboundary pollution. So you guys must have heard the various convention about this. This is the back. So there is a rate of extinction, but if the rate of extinction is more than that, then there is fishery. Then this triangle in coral triangle region. Then we have this provisioning, regulating, cultural and supporting ecosystem services that you guys could see the process through is methyl mercury in the food and biomagnification. So if it is accumulating within a same species, then it's bioaccumulation, and if it's growing throughout the species through the food chain, then it is biomagnification. Okay, so these are the sustainable goals. Actually, these are one, two, three, four, total 17 goals. This was a very important picture where you can see the effect of deforestation. Could see the road or boundary here and there. And this is the forest area, and this is the deforested area. It's very kind of pressing challenge to preserve the trees here. Then the land degradation issue. It's pressing challenge. Main critical concerns of food security. Affordability is also a concern. Affordability, availability, accessibility. Okay. But if you see the major concern, it's availability and accessibility. Affordability, accessibility is important concern. Water scarcity. So you can see the reports, state of environment reports. So these reports are very important. State of India's environment. You guys can go and read this report to get a quite comprehensive understanding about this. Okay. So if there are any questions about this week one, please feel free to ask. I will wait for some time here so that you guys can actually ask your questions to me. अबे Okay, Anjali has a question. Anjali, go on. Hmm. Hmm. Same pattern, same pattern. So there will be, I think, two type of question. The all the questions will be like MCQ types only, but there will be two types. One is where only single answer is correct. Another one is where multiple answers are correct. So expect the similar pattern as you saw in the assignments. Uh, Mostly on that pattern only you will get the question in the exam. Okay. Okay, so let me discuss then week 2. There are no questions from week 1. So I'm just passing through the slides, and if there is anything important which I feel ki you guys should have a recap, then I will stop and have a discussion with you guys. Otherwise, please feel free to raise your hand or ask question in the in-call messages. I am totally okay with this. Okay. So this was weekly session 2, and I think the drivers, mostly people know the drivers, and this was a marine ecosystem. So marine ecosystem is quite diverse type of ecosystem where a lot of organism live. Like we have a diverse ecosystem on the land, the Amazon forest, everything. So you could see, observe a similar type of ecosystem in the ocean or sea also. So those ecosystems are also very much developed and quite contribute a lot to the humans in terms of providing services. Like many of the coral reefs are actually used in or the algae or the different plants or animals in the sea that we get from marine ecosystem are actually used in preparing medicines actually, and many more things that we obtain from sea. So those are quite important, uh, plays an important role in the life. I think this was a very great video, the marine ecosystem. Let me see if it plays. Okay, so anything which you want to ask from this week 2, please. Abheri is asking, sir, week 12 first two video contents are almost similar. Very difficult to remember each of them. How to remember and answer? Uh, see, go through the slides and see if those slides, you don't have to go through. Videos are there for explain, for teaching, for explanation of the concepts. Go through the slides like while doing the scope strategic environment impact assessment, and then second video is reporting and review. I don't think the content of the videos will be same here because the slides are different, quite different. But if you want, please go through the slides because most of the question will be asked in this from the slides only. And if there is anything which you can't understand from the slides, please refer to the videos. Okay. Because in videos generally people have to make the concept understand, so there is a linking of one concept with the previous concept. So yeah, there can be repetition in the videos, the concepts are repeated so that you guys can have a familiarity with whatever is being taught. So if I am going to talk about strategic impact assessment, so I will have to tell you about EIA and why we are moving to a strategic impact assessment. So yeah, it's okay, the content are repeated or not uh, very much a big challenge here. You just go through the slides and then you can easily uh, grasp on the concepts. Okay, so if there are any questions from week 2, please feel free to ask. Okay, no question from you guys. So let me move to then question. Anjali has raised a hand and Krishna also. Okay, Anjali, go on. Hello. It's okay, Krishna. Anjali, do you have any questions? No, not. I think Anjali has raised a hand. Maybe by mistakes he has raised a hand, or it was the previous hand only. Let me lower it? How do I lower a hand? I think I don't have. Oh, lower. Okay. So yeah, if you have any question, Anjali, please feel free to ask, or otherwise you can write it here also. So no problem. Let us move to the week 3. Okay, so again in week 3 we were mostly discussing about policy instruments, governance, and then the role of United Nations and different conventions. I think like CITES is a very important convention. So basically it provides a legal framework in which the trade in different flora and fauna species are actually restricted, and countries cooperate with each other so that uh, is there anything? Uh, Krishna, is there anything which you want to ask? Okay, okay, no problem. So yeah, CITES provides a legal framework together with common procedural mechanisms. So basically, it treats endangered species. Like you see in the turtles are actually the custom officer generally capture turtles, snakes from the smugglers. So those actually comes under CITES. So these are convention under CITES. And then United Nations Conference on Human Settlements. And this was a very important. Ameco Cardi's oil spill. Oil tanker was actually caught in a storm and they could not handle. And there was some problem with the steering, and it swept away to the coast, and a big amount of oil was actually spilled to the coast of Brittany, France. Okay, so that was a very huge disaster. Then we have transboundary air pollution, Bhopal gas tragedy. I think we saw this Bhopal gas tragedy also in video explaining the methyl isocyanate leaks. Climate change is a big pressing challenge. So actually we are targeting to restrict ourselves to less than 2 degrees Celsius through the end of this decade, sorry, the century, 2 degrees Celsius. But if you want to preserve our uh, climate, then we have to restrict it to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So this is favorable, but this is what we have to do anyways. Millennium ecosystem assessments. Then we have this generalized EIA flowchart. So this flowchart is very much important if you want to understand the EIA. So you guys can actually, I have shared these slides with you guys, so you guys can actually go through these slides and read about it. NEPA process. This is very important. National Air Quality Monitoring Program. Maybe you may not get a good amount of question from it, but it is very important to know about this because government has actually initiated this National Air Quality Monitoring Program so that uh, it can monitor the 4 air pollutants: sulfur dioxides, oxides of nitrogen, and PM10 and PM2.5 regularly. So thank you for this. Week 3 is also over. So if you have any question from week 3, please feel free to ask here. Okay. So don't worry, your all questions are welcome. No question from you guys? Okay, then I think we can move to week 4. These are about IS standards. So I think it's institutional structure of water management. So this week was basically about the water management in India. So impacts and various organizations that are actually into this water management. MOHUA, that Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and why the management of water is important. So these are the different acts which are passed by the government of India at various time intervals. And this was about the coastal regulation zone. So where you can make a development, what is the buffer zone? You can see this picture is very much important. So you guys should actually consider reading this picture actually. So it can give you a good idea about the coastal regulatory zone. And by the way, I think in the last week 12 lecture we have seen this water aerodrome projects in Andaman and Nicobar. So that was ICRZ. So it was not a coastal, doesn't come under coastal regulatory zone, because coastal regulatory zone strictly prohibits any tourism infrastructure, but uh, that actually promotes tourism infrastructure in biospheres. So you could see the different biospheres also. The cool desert is also a biosphere reserve. Okay. Then this is geoparks. Okay. Geotourism activity, excursion, natural trails, sustainable development goals. And there is difference between wildlife sanctuary, nature parks, and biosphere reserves. So there can be question in the exam from this. So you guys should actually have a good understanding about what these actually mean. Wildlife sanctuary. So wildlife sanctuary is area which is free from disturbance from human activity. So no human activity allowed. National parks are those reserved area where no human activities are allowed at all. And in biosphere reserves, yeah, there is a human activity. Okay. So यहाँ पर नीलगिरी, Kaziranga, and then Madumalai Wildlife Sanctuary. Then IC targets were very important. So these are the IC targets. Noise level, and then system of environmental accounting. You can see different countries had different environmental accounting systems. And we have 3 red lists by International Union for Conservation of Nature. So this organization is very much important. It actually classifies these flora and fauna according to different classification category, like extinct, threatened, least concern. Okay, so this was about this week 4 lecture. So you can like least concern. Crow is a least concern. You can find crows everywhere, but peacocks, they are endangered, critically endangered, you can say, or vulnerable. Like vultures, they are actually critically endangered. Very few numbers of vultures are there in India. So this is what is very important to try to understand the concept of IUCN. Okay, so if you have any questions from week 4, so please feel free to ask. Okay. Okay, no question. Then we can move to uh, 5. So this was about Equicon guidelines. These are very important guidelines. So these talk about cultural, environment, and social impact. Okay, so these are the Equicon guidelines prepared for this understanding of cultural, social, and environmental impact. So then there was the concept of cultural keystone species, which is very important. So some of these species are actually linked with the cultural identity of the people also. So like Borneo's bearded pig, guardian forest protector of their inhabitants. So people actually have a good understanding and a linkage with these type of keystone species. It can be uh, animal also, it can be plants also. When we talk about health impact assessment, so this was the step of health impact assessment. Okay, then we have other impact assessment tool like risk assessment, cost benefit analysis. Okay, then keystone species and their role in ecosystem like rice today, upland rice culture keystone species, Philippine traditional agro ecosystem. These type of keystone species are actually representative of the culture of that community. And we have eminent domain, then match the resettlement economic development. So this is very important. So you need to know like resettlement is for planned process of relocating people. Economic displacement is actually this loss of income streams, means of livelihood resulting from land acquisition. Then compensation is payment in cash or kind for an asset or resource, and then host population. Okay, so this is the correct answer here. Right to property is not a fundamental right in India. And social impact assessment. So there were two videos actually. So let's so if time permits, we can see the video. Let's skip the videos because I think most of the videos are actually. So these type of question you can expect in the exam. Project specific EIA, programmatic EIA, sectoral and regional EIA. Okay. So this is what uh, uh, is end of lecture 5, week 5. So if there is any question which you want to discuss from week 5, please raise your questions in call messages, or you can raise your hand and then ask the questions if any. Okay, if there is no question, then we can move to 6. So EIA directives, European EIA directives. So they were asking about European EIA directives and what does that include. So this is the European EIA directive. Okay, reporting, then commission of reports, everything that is included in the European EIA directive. Then impact identification techniques are quite important because impacts has to be identified. Okay. Okay, then methods like checklist, matrices, networks, map overlay, then mathematical computation. So don't worry, these type of question won't be asked in the exam, but you just have to know that what are the different mathematical and computer based models. So deterministic models, stochastic models are basically probabilistic, probability based models. And checklist, there are four type of checklist: simple, descriptive, questionnaire. This is type of simple checklist. You just have to cross whatever you see. Then descriptive, then threshold checklist. And matrix based, two-dimensional tables can be there. Network based, this is a kind of network based checklist. Then overlay, where you put a picture and then say how much change has actually occurred. Okay, and in India, terms of reference is very important. Okay, for scoping. Okay, and types of EIA: rigorous EIA, rational balanced EIA, streamlined EIA, and democratic EIA. So question can please expect question from these type of things. Okay, and types of impact prediction. Okay, causal network, decision tree, and a decision tree for environmental acceptability, cost benefit analysis. So this is one of the important analysis, cost benefit, where a systematic process of evaluating the desirability of a decision by weighing its potential benefits and costs are actually there. So if there is very high cost but benefits are very low, so that project is easily discarded. Shadow pricing, discount pricing, equal weights. So these type of things are there. Purpose of public participation in EIA. So that is also important. Component of monitoring, implementation monitoring. So this is what is there in the week 6 lectures. So if you have any questions, I please feel free to ask the questions. Okay. No questions. Please feel free to ask your questions. If you found anything which you feel that it must be asked, please feel free to ask. Okay, so if there are no questions, then I think we can move to week 7 lectures. So week 7 basically talked about the air pollution, effects of air pollution on human health, like different inflammation and how the air pollution is actually a silent killer. Okay, so WHO guidelines, and these gases are actually very much important: carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, ammonia, VOCs, ozone, POP, particulate matter, heavy metals, and the different effect of air pollution and critical levels. What is critical levels? Okay, examples of critical level, like this is the critical level defined by UK government or UK pollution control board. So we have similarly WHO guidelines also, and we have national ambient air quality standards, international finance corporation, then performance standards. What are the different performance standards are there? Risk management, labor, everything. Okay, and numerical dispersion models are there that actually calculate the dispersion of air pollution, like simple screening model, complex advanced models. Like USCPA screen 3 is USCPA screen 3 air screen. So this is the principle. This is based on Gaussian model. Like with increasing distance, the it will diverse. Okay, risk based assessment, semi quantitative assessment, dispersion modeling. So yeah. So there are different air road traffic air pollution modeling also, like UK's ADMS road model, US EPA CalQ. So all these things can be important. Question can be asked from these type of things, like surface and groundwater quality, physical attribute, water assessment quality, desktop study, like catchment boundary area and drainage patterns, field study, temporary. Yes, so detailed study on hydraulic models. So these base flow, what can be a base flow? So match and like you saw the question, match the following. So these type of question can be asked in the exam: return period, recurrence interval, geological maps range. So these type of questions can be asked. So you have to be prepared when these type of questions are actually asked in the exams. Okay, mitigation and resilience, climate change. So all these things have to, and then you can look into these type of documents also. Okay. So if you have any questions from week 7, please feel free to ask. Okay, then let's discuss the week 8. In week 8, we basically talk about the scoping of the EIA process. So mainly depending on nation to nation based legislation, which is quite correct because every nation has different legislation. Okay, then there is survey methodology, assessment methodology. There, COP conference is very important. COP 26 conference because Prime Minister Modi actually declared a five-fold strategy for India to be net zero. So in 2070, India is actually targeting to achieve net zero. Okay, so this is quite important. You can read this and then UNFCCC, United Nations Framework for Climate Change. Paris Climate Goal, Paris Agreement ratifications, and this is what a very important figure. 1.5 degrees is desirable, 2.0 is actually what we are going to achieve. We should achieve. Otherwise, there will be more impacts on which can be felt. And vulnerability, high, moderate, and low vulnerability, receptors, fragility, sensitivity, resilience. Okay. Stability, negative feedbacks, resilience, recoverability. So these definitions you guys should have a good idea about the definitions because the definitions is what will be asked in the exam. So maybe you get a question from these. Okay. So ecology, habitat, what the difference between ecology, habitat, biotope, population, community. So all these things are quite important where you get questions. Data collection method, plot weight, quadrant method, plotless sampling. Okay, modified habitat, natural habitat, PES, valuation of ecosystem services, okay, valued ecosystem components and ecosystem services, and payment for ecosystem services are there. Radio tracking. So how radio tracking is actually done then? Okay. So if there are any questions from this week 8, you can always write your questions in the chat box, so you can ask your questions. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we can actually move to the next slide, which is kind of week 9. So here in week 9, we basically talked about the ecosystem surveys and causal chain diagrams. So these are actually causal chain diagrams: action, ecosystem function, service, social value. Then EIA context, ESR is basically ecosystem services review, which is very much important. Then you have a scope and baseline studies to actually, and these are the different services, ecosystem services like provisioning, regulating, cultural. So yeah, then we have corporate ecosystem review. So corporate review is also a very much important. Then we move to the shoreline study, like what are the different coastal area, coastal zone, low tide, shoreline. Because you need to know when you are going to do a ecosystem based analysis. So you must have a good knowledge about this coastal zone and the different terminologies here. Okay, alongside coast sediment transport. So you can see the sediment transport here. The here you can see a big wide beach, and here the beach is narrow. Then mud flats are actually quite important. And then what is the importance of these mud flats? And key approach to identify hydrodynamic effects and ecological impacts are actually quite important. And then we have runoff leading to flash floods. So most of the cities in the days you are seeing flash floods, like in Dubai or Chennai or cities. So this is because earlier this there are low-lying areas, and earlier these were actually catchment areas for excess water or flows. But now the buildings have come up, so you can see the floods there. And eutrophication, you can see the example of eutrophication here. This is because the nutrients are washed off from the fields, and then algae bloom actually happens. And noise pollution, noise concept is there, sound intensity. So these type of question can be asked in the exam. Okay, so you can have a good idea about what does this mean. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask those questions. Okay. Okay, so if there are no questions, sir, I am doing MSc Environmental Science. Will I be eligible to do EIA on that basis? Yeah, so this EIA are basically done by consultant companies, so they don't have anything to basically done with this your degree, if you have the skills of EIA, you can easily be recruited by those companies to do the EIA. It doesn't mean that I've seen many person with non-engineering background and science background doing pretty well in these consultant companies. So yeah, you can. You just have to learn the skills. And then I will discuss the last slide, last week of this, because the current 2 weeks, 11 and 12, are actually recently. So most of you have a good recap of those weeks. So I will discuss this and then we will close this session. So week 10 is basically landscape, about a zone or area, what landscape means, and then different convention about the European landscape, and then what are the factors, natural factors that contribute to the landscape, and then cultural and social factor, then perceptual and aesthetics that also contribute to the landscape. Then we have this question: coherence, possibility, criteria for capturing visual character. Okay, then zone of theoretical visibility. This is very important term. What does that mean actually? Zone of theoretical visibility, you can see here in different pics. And then historical and physical assessment. You can see a historical cultural landscape. This is from Italy. Okay. Then survey, different field survey techniques, resistivity survey, magnetometer survey, test pitting. So this is kind of test pitting. You make a square and then you do the survey. So earthwork survey, machine trenching, resistivity survey. You can see the resistance of the field layer. So basically you do the excavation, then magnetometer survey, auger survey, where generally done in the river, the sideways of rivers, where you have deposition of layers of sand or some muds. So then human health risk assessment. Okay, approaches into health impact assessment, practically into EIA. Okay, definition of social impact assessment, social cohesion, global multi-poverty index. Then we discussed a lot about this global multi-poverty index in detail. And then we have this measuring economic impacts, then economic impact multipliers, Keynesian multiplier. So yeah, this is what is about week 10. So week 11 and 12 are actually much reset. So I am sure you guys must have a good recap of week 11 and 12. But if you have any questions from this week 1 to 10 or week 11 or 12, please feel free to ask. Okay. So it was a very nice session with you guys. So it was a wonderful, wonderful session. So I had a wonderful time having a live interaction of this NPTEL Environmental Impact Assessment course, and I'm sure you guys will do uh, this um, this well in the exam. So Radha Krishnan is asking, will it be the last session for this course? The last session for this course was yesterday only, the week 12. So this is quite kind of summary session where you have interaction and ask questions about different patterns or something. So yeah, I took this opportunity to have a recap of week 1 to 10 also, so you guys can have a good understanding about different concepts. Okay. So best of luck and do well in your exams. So if you have any questions you want to ask, please feel free to reach out to me on this email address, or you can scan this QR code. So thank you all for this wonderful session and wonderful course. So hope we'll meet again in some other session. Thank you guys.